Hello. Welcome back. We're going to be continuing our series, A Simple Way to Teach Reading. How to teach reading in 6 simple, 6 easy, 6 non-complex, however it is that you want to put it. 6 simple steps. So if you are a parent who is trying to teach your child to read, if you are a teacher who is teaching children to read, if you are a brother, a sister, an aunt, an uncle, a friendly neighbor who just want to help a child or an adult get reading or improve their literacy, this video you will want to watch from the beginning to the end. And if you have not yet checked out my previous video, I lay out some preliminary rules for the steps that we're going to be looking at. Click and check it out first and then come back to this video. Okay, so let's get into step number 1. Have the learner recognize the vowels and their sounds. And this kind of sound, like I said it already, but not quite. In this context, that is actually step 1. Not just the vowels and their sounds, but the vowels and their short sounds. I did touch on it before where I said it is very important in the initial stages when you are teaching a child to read, you emphasize, you teach the short vowel sounds first. Why is that? When it comes to the English language and the words that your child or any of us will read, the majority of the words that we read carry the short sounds of the vowels. I can't quite remember the percent as at the time that I'm recording this video, but just take my word for it. It's the majority of the words that they will read. So that is where we start. We are not looking at short sound and long sound at the same time, starting with the short vowel sound. You teach them 5 vowels are A, E, I, O, U, right? 5 of them. And each of those vowels has a particular sound. No, it's not okay for us to just say, vowels have their sounds, I will say a sound. Teach them the correct sound, and if they even slightly differ from what the sound should be, correct them. Correct them early, because you have to make sure that they master these sounds. We do not want to lay down a little flimsy, we don't want to lay down no dirt for no foundation. We want a sturdy foundation, right? Don't neglect in ensuring that you hear them saying the sound as it should be said and not just partially correct. So we're going to be looking at the first vowel and the sound that you should be teaching them. First vowel we'll be looking at is A. So A says ah. You open up your mouth. A says ah for apple, Adam, Africa, ant, astronaut, and so on. So you find some simple 3-letter words and have them listen to you read it. So first you're letting them know, you're showing them the letter. A says ah. You give them an example of of words that, and again, we're using pictures with the words because, as I said before, aid memorization. You say to them, listen now to these words and tell me if you hear the ant sound or the apple sound. You say cap. When I say cap, do you hear the sound? They should say yes. Then you say man. When I say man, do you hear the sound? Hat. When I say hat, do you hear the apple sound? They should say yes. And so you find 6 simple words. This part of it is having them listen if they are hearing the sound, and that's why it is so important for you as teacher to learn the sound correctly yourself, because you are going to have them replicate exactly how it is that you are sounding these vowels. You read some words and have them respond by saying whether or not they hear the sound. The third thing you are going to do within step 1, vowel A, and this is replicated for all the vowels. So the third thing you're going to do to test understanding is you're going to say to them, okay, I want you to listen to me and I'm going to read a pair of words. And I want you to listen if you hear the apple sound in either of these words. Then I want you to repeat the word in which you hear the A apple sound. So you say bug, bag. Let me repeat. Bug, bag. Which word has the A apple sound? And they should say, of course, bag. Sometimes, especially depending on the age or the stage and all that, many factors, you may say the wrong thing, bug. And instead of saying, no, that's incorrect, what I would typically do, I would say, listen again. Bug, bag. Bug, bag. In that case, they should answer again, or you ask them again, which word has the A apple sound? And you keep doing that until they give you the correct word. And remember, they are to repeat the word because they're getting practice sounding the word with the A sound. Then you move on to our next pair of words. Lip, lap, lip, lap. Repeat the word that has the A apple sound. Lip, lap. And they should tell you lap. Again, if they say lip, you say listen again. Lip, lap. Which word has the A sound? Lip, lap, and so on. I don't want to draw it out too much, and so on. I think you get the point. This is for the A. The next vowel is E. And the E says E for elephant, Eskimo, egg, enter, elevator, England. And you think of every single word you possibly can in that introductory phase, just so that they can keep hearing. What should this sound like? How should I position my mouth to get this sound out? Eh. And then we follow the same steps that we did for the vowel A. We say to them, I am going to read some words and I want you to listen and tell me, do you hear the egg sound or the elephant sound? You say, I will begin now. Are you listening? Men. Do you hear the S sound in men? They should say yes. Beg. Do you hear the S sound when I say beg? Beg. And don't be afraid to overemphasize the sound because you want them to hear it and hear it clearly. You don't want any ambiguity in their thoughts when it comes to them deciphering. What do I hear? Do I hear E or do I hear A? Right? Or do I hear E? You want to overemphasize. Hen. Do you hear the E elephant sound when I say hen? They should say yes. 6 of those words that have the short sound of the vowel, in this case the short E sound, and you have them respond by saying whether or not they hear. I'm going to read a few pair of words. You are going to listen for the word that has the E sound. Then you are going to repeat the word that has the elephant sound or the egg sound. So listen carefully. Pet, pot, pot. Please repeat the word that has the E sound. Is it pet or is it pot? And they should of course repeat the word that has the S sound, and you wait for them to respond and you keep it going. We do that for all the vowels. I says I for igloo, Indian, itch, in, and the list goes on. You find as many words as possible that has that short I sound, which is I, and then you read about 6 words and ask them to listen if they hear the I sound in them. Bin, 6, hill, bib, fix. And try to find some very simple words for this stage. Just find 6 3-letter words if possible and just run through those, and of course words that would be familiar to them. So at this point you're not supposed to be telling them about isthmus and inculcate don't get too technical in this. Just keep it simple. Words and ask them to listen for the I sound. You ask them after you've read each word if they hear the I sound, and they will sometimes say, no, I didn't hear it. That's not indicative of a problem. You're going to again read the word, announcing the vowel sound correctly to ensure that they do hear the I, and they should if you're sounding it correctly. But again, it's no fault of theirs if they say they don't hear, right? It means that maybe there is some mispronunciation, maybe they became distracted, and so especially for older learners, when they can't read very well, they tend to invent, for obvious reasons, their own spelling. So one might say to you, but miss, I never know that is E in there. I thought it was I. And so when they hear a word, they already have a mental picture of what they thought that word would, how it would be spelled. And so sometimes I think that's why they don't necessarily hear the sound. But yeah, that's just a side note. So again, you find the 6 words, you read them, you ask them to respond as to whether or not they have heard that particular vowel sound, in this case I. Then you move on to the pairs of words. Did, dad. Repeat the word that has the I Indian sound. Lip, lap. Repeat the word that has the I sound, and they should say lip, and you move on then to the I'm saying we will move on to the O, but you are not going to move on per the rule that I shared in my previous video. Do not move on to another lesson until you are sure that there is a firm grasp of the former or the present lesson. In other words, you're not going to move on to teaching them the A sound. They can't identify the I, the A, the E. It doesn't make no sense you don't move on to teaching them O, right? Do not move on until there is mastery of the previous. And these last 2 is where, in my experience, those 2 areas is where you really have the most work to do, right? Especially if it's not if it's not a young child who just starting to learn to read, but those who have, have learned already and they learned the wrong thing. They've been taught the wrong. As I said before, O says ah. I always say, look at my mouth. Ah, 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 ah. For ostrich, orange, octopus. Until you say to them, I am going to read some words that have the ah orange sound or the ah octopus sound, and you are going to tell me if you hear the ah sound in these words. And you come up with 6 3-letter words, simple 3-letter words, simple 4-letter words. Bob, bob. Do you hear the ah sound in bob? Bob. They should say yes. Pop, pop. Do you hear the ah sound when I say pop? What about when I say dog? Dog. Do you hear the ah sound when I say dog? They should say yes. Read a few pair of words and ask them. Listen first to each pair, and from that pair, repeat the word that has the ah sound. Hot, hat. Hot, hat. What about when I say tap? Top, tap, top. Please repeat the word that you hear the ah orange sound. Tap, top, top. And they should say toss. Aim for 4 pairs for this particular field. Last vowel is the U. For the U, I tell them I kind of turn up my mouth. So I go, oh. U says, oh. And you, as I say, you might want to exaggerate the mouth movement, especially in the initial stages, just so that, it's seen and they get it. So again, you find 6 3-letter, 4-letter words that have the short U sound. Oh, umbrella sound. Cup, bug, gum. When I say gum, do you hear the O sound? They should say yes. And again, you do that for about 6 words. Read a pair of words, a few pairs of words, and you ask them to repeat the words that have the O umbrella sound. Mad, mud. Which word do you hear the O sound? Mad, mud. One of the ways that you can use the error, if they say, for example, in this case, you ask them which word has the O sound, and you say fin. fun. If they say fin, then you say fin, 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 fin. What vowel do you hear? They should say, oh, E, I. They may get it wrong, but you just use that to kind of cement, re-emphasize it. So that's step one, to recognize the vowels and their short sound. Next, we'll be looking at step two. I would encourage you, please subscribe to the channel and hit your notification bell so that you can be notified when I upload the next video looking at step two. Thank you so much for watching. Whether you're a teacher or a learner, keep at it. A child or an adult, keep at it. I will help you walk through these steps, and I can promise you they will be effective in teaching you, your child, or anybody you know how to read and how to read well. So until we link up again, until we see each other again, take best care. Bye-bye.